All right, guys, so it's been a little while since I've done an update. Life's been really busy between working and trying to get some things figured out with a new place to live and set up shop and everything. So I was going back through my videos to try and get you guys a new updated video and realized like a lot of the first videos for this one were completely wrong. I went over a lot of wire harness stuff and ultimately decided to go with a standalone harness. So just cutting all that stuff out, just letting you guys know it's gonna be a standalone harness now. It's ordered, it's on its way. I think like mid-April is what I'm told. So there's some other stuff that's gonna happen until then. So we'll pick up where my video kind of spliced in the middle, but here you go. Okay, so I've got these side pieces in here. And what those are for is to give a flat surface on the side. I'm gonna weld those in. So then this big old guy there can go bridge that gap. The kind of sucky part about that is it's got a lot of notching to do, because if we look at the inside here, it's gonna sit on the bottom of there. And then ideally, I think it's going to end up running across the top of this and then down to there, up to here, and then follow this. I'm thinking that's what's going to happen. So this part will end up getting notched. I've got a plan-ish for that. What I'll do is I'll get this stuff kind of tack welded in, and then I'll run seam sealer along all of that so it'll be watertight, and I think we'll be good. But that's kind of the plan, so I'm going to get some of that stuff going and see how it turns out. So I've got the back part welded in here, or tacked in here. It's fitted in there halfway decent. And to kind of beat the inside here quite a bit to get it to kind of curve the way I wanted it to fit down there, so I could actually get some weld in there. But basically the only other thing that I'm really worried about doing here is getting a piece to kind of bridge this gap here. With this back window being broke out, now I'll have to cut all that out. I think I'm just going to end up running, some plexiglass or something of that nature, glue it in. I'll end up running the seam sealer along this gap here because the rear window will come up to that. So I'll run it there, and then I'll run it along whatever crap down here, this seam along that bottom one down there as well, and then it will be watertight. I'm really not going to worry about finishing this off very nicely, other than, grind my welds down and then run that seam sealer. Oh, I forgot that as well. I'll have to fill. But anyways, this will be, where the top of that cover is going to go over. So that's not going to get seen until you pop the hood. And honestly, I don't really care what in here looks like. Yeah, so I'm just going to get some small pieces to fill that side. I might cut as much of that out as I can today and then go home and start researching my wire stuff there. I've decided to move more onto the wide body side of things. So the end result plan is I've got that solid, I think it's 1/4 inch steel rod. We'll make like a little skeleton out of it, use some steel, weld to it so it's metal and solid. But to get there, I have zero idea what I want this wide body to look like. So I've just bought a bunch of cardboard, have a hot glue gun, and the plan is to cut pieces out, glue it on, and get a shape. See if it's something that I like. If it is, the cardboard cutouts will be a template for the steel. And if it's not, then rip it off and do it again. So basically, that's all that's going to happen. I'll put you up on time lapse, but just to kind of give you a rough idea, we've got a body line here. There's a body line, man, it's kind of hard to get on camera. is right here. It follows the door and it goes across there. That's a hard line. And again, down here, but it fades out by about halfway through the door. It's gone and it's not in the back. Same with that bottom one. So depending on how far forward this comes, it might come straight out, go down, kind of follow to this hard line, cut in, and then stop maybe even below this. So we'll have some tire poke. Or if it comes all the way down and follows that, you know, it might do that all the way back. I'm not really sure yet, but that's what the cardboard's for. So that just gives you a little bit of an idea of the body lines that we're fighting, trying to figure out, you know, with it not having the line in the back, what's going to happen. But we'll figure it out. Okay, so it looks different on camera than it does in person, and that's why I was really reluctant to do any of the video of the wide body on here. But I think this is basically the shape I'm going to go with. I originally was like, oh man, I really want to move this scoop further back, but the scoop I need functional to force air in, to come in for my rad, and then probably FMIC. I don't know which side will be which until I get that stuff in, but I think if I move that further back, because I think aesthetically, if this was more here, it'd look better, but then that would put my scoop, you know, back here, and that's not going to work. So it's got to be where it's at, and it is what it is. But I think that's basically what I'm going to do. The bottom part here, I obviously will fill out, and I'll put this on the top, which I don't have right now. And then the back, I missed one little spot there, but I've got it notched with the bumper, so the bumper can still come off, but this will just go straight over to the body. That way, all of this can get solid welded to the car and will not have to come off. So again, I have not done this before, so I'm kind of making it up as I go. But what I think is going to happen now is I'll start cutting steel pieces to their shapes. So like a giant trapezoid piece that'll be the top piece, that one back piece. I will probably do these in different pieces. So 1, 2, the piece underneath is 3, and then this is probably going to be a piece, and then that's a piece. And then I've got all my solid 1/4 inch steel that's going to be basically skeletal structure. So it'll come out, weld a piece of cross, and then the sheet metal will weld to that. But I think if I can cut all my pieces while it's on there, I think that might be my best bet. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure. I might cut it all off, lay it down on the stuff, and then trace it out. But that's the next step I'm going to get figured out here and get you updated once I know what I'm doing. So I think my plan of attack here is I've cut this center part out, and I've measured and cut some of my steel rod. There are 3 different sizes because it does kind of taper down as it comes over to here, obviously. Oops, sorry, over to here. So what I've done is cut them, a few of these, so I'll just have them ready to go. And they'll go in right at that point. I'll do quite a few of them because I want it, somewhat structural. But what I think I'm going to do is actually weld these ones in, and then I'll get this top area here size figured out and everything. Then I can cut those ones off and continue to do the same along that line. That way I'm basically going to just deconstruct this as I can make my steel pieces and get my structure in. So basically that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to kind of get cracking at some of that. The day's kind of coming to an end here, so I really don't have a whole lot of time left. I threw a very quick coat of filler up there, and one more quick coat of Duraglass back here, but that's drying, so I figured I'd come bounce back over to this again. Okay, so I've done a little bit more off cam here. Just continued, like I said, just getting my little I don't know what you want to call them, peg structure pieces out, and then cut my cardboard template off. And then basically I'm just cutting my parts that'll go in as I go. I was just now kind of thinking about it, and I'm a little bit worried if I just cut everything off, do the pegs, and then try and fit everything, that's going to line up exactly the way it's supposed to go. So I think what I'm going to do now is, now that I've got the whole top area done and marked, I think I'm going to get this one, welded in. Not like super solid, but just get it tacked so it'll sit. I'll probably do this other top one as well, which I do know because I tried to accommodate for this, and I didn't do it well. Because this top has all these little gaps from the cardboard, and it wasn't one piece, I tried to add enough on there when I was cutting, and I didn't. So I've got a little gap here that I will deal with later when the time comes. But when you see me weld it on, that's what's up with that. But I think I'm going to do the top one, so at least that part will hold its shape. I'm going to wait to do this and this one for sure, at least until after I get these pegs and the stuff back off. But that's where I want my air dam. So what I think I'm going to do is get this one on. I'll measure out for this stuff, get those little pegs welded on, cut this piece off, and then I'll cut my hole that'll go through and try to build like my little chute dam thing, whatever you'd want to call it, that'll force all the air in. And then I'll be able to come back out and put my outside on from there. But I think that's going to work better if I can just work my way down with everything. But there it is. I'll get you guys set up on time lapse and keep cracking.
people OG.
All right, so a little update on the wide body situation. The driver's side, sorry, this is passenger side, is for the most part, metal work is done. I do have to do the bottom. It's like from there to there underneath, and same on the very part of the rear. That's why my Duraglass kind of stops there. But I just started to do that. That way I can bounce around. If I'm waiting for that stuff to dry, I can be welding, and then by the time I'm done with that, I can sand, you know. I did just slap on some filler up there, but the tailgate I started to lay filler on, and I've got the heat cranked in here. It's 40 degrees out today, so it's like super hot in here, and it started to dry up as I was going. So it is not smoothly laid at all, but I'm getting that worked in. Back there's getting worked in. But there's the body kit part of it, or wide body, whatever you want to call it. That does go through and all the way through. I'll end up putting some mesh there to kind of help that out. But there you have it so far. I've got to do some sanding and then some more filler work on that, but it's stout. So inside here, getting my seats in, basically all I've done is I took the bottom part of the rails off the XB seats so they bolt in where they're supposed to. Still sits a little low, so I've just got a little 2x4 riser up there. I'm gonna weld that, the 2x4s, to the brackets there, the sliders, whatever you want to call them, and then I'll put my seat in and tack my rail to this, and then pull it all back out and solid weld it. That way I can still unbolt the seat, and it's got sliders to go back and forth and everything. So should be pretty cut and dry stuff there, but then after that's on, I'll be able to put my belts in. So pretty exciting. And the seats are in. That's how they're down. Harnesses are in. I'm gonna make sure everything's 100% buttoned up in here, and then once I'm done with that, I'll feel more comfortable about getting my back window in and locked in, just because it's kind of a pain in the butt to reach the bar back there without being able to, or sorry, with the glass being in there. So with it being out, it's easy. So once I know for sure that that's 100% locked in, I'm gonna run my glass back there, some seam sealer. While I'm doing that seam sealer, I'll run my bead on the inside of all this stuff that I had, and I'll probably take this wheel off, get inside this, and run my seam sealer in here as well. That way this is good, and then I'll have to build my wheel arch on the inside of that. But there you have it. I think that's going to do it for this video, guys. I'm sorry it's been so long since the last one. Unfortunately, between home life and working and everything else, I don't get out here near as much as I'd like. So hopefully we are still going to be on track to have this done by middle of May. But we'll see. Still waiting on that harness. So yeah. Thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned.